first and foremost, like everybody else has done, I want to thank Headline Entertainment for inviting me, Creative Caribbean for putting this on, and the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sports for hosting us here today. I'm really excited to speak to you guys in regards to the music industry today. What I'd like to do is, by the way, that video is my little shameless plug. I'll be speaking about it a little bit later. I hope you guys like it. It's amazing. It's the most important project I've ever done in my career. What I'd like to do is I'd like to start off by introducing myself, why I'm standing here, why maybe you should be listening to me. I've been in the music industry for 33 years. I've worked at Capitol Records, Columbia Records, Island Records, Island Def Jam, Polygram, Universal, VP Records. I worked with Marley Family for 27 years. Am I too far away from the mic? I'm a Grammy-nominated producer. You name it, I've basically done it in the industry. I've ran marketing departments, I've A&R'd. I'm a music producer. I have actually ran music cruises for years, thanks to Damian, Marley, and his management team, and Headline Entertainment's a part of that too as well. I've done that for 13 years for many, many different artists. And 21 years I spent in New York City, 13 years now I've been in Nashville, Tennessee, which I absolutely love. And recent years, I was the global head of brand partnerships and business development at a rights management company out of LA that deals with name and likeness, music catalogs, artist archives. I represented artists like Tony Bennett, Robbie Robertson and the Band, David Cassidy, Marianne Faithfull, Murder Inc., even Diplo. And then from there, because I got so obsessed with the archives, funny enough, I became the vice president of business development for Julian's Auctions, which is the auction house to the stars. So I actually was doing auctions for Bob Dylan and Christine McVie and the Everly Brothers, you name it. I'm kind of like the Willy Wonka of the music industry and a jack of all trades. If I can learn it, I want to learn it, which is another thing I'd like you guys to take away from here. You're never too old to learn, and it's always so great to be able to add that to your list of what you can do. So now I can be like, yeah, I can produce your record and I can sell your old stuff. But today they asked me, because a lot of us have done a lot of the same things in the industry that you're going to hear speaking today, and I have to tell you, I'm super glad I'm going first, because I'm going to learn a lot from a lot of people. Mikey Bennett is a great speaker. My friend Nikki's here from Nashville as well. There's just some great speakers. I can't wait to hear Steve's speech today. I'm going to be in the crowd taking notes as well, because like I said, you're never too old to learn. I'm actually going to be speaking on, Carlette tried to give me a hard subject. She made me sound like I was business affairs and start me at 9 o'clock in the morning so I could put everybody to sleep. So I said, I'm going to make this more tangible. What I want to do is I want to try to talk about stuff that you don't necessarily Google all the time. And you probably have Googled some of this stuff, but I want it to be something that you can actually take away today. And especially for artists and creatives that are just starting out, that have limited resources, or you feel like you just don't have access to things, I just want to spend my little bit of time, even though it feels like eternity, and explaining some of the things that I think are crucial to know as an artist in the industry. And like everybody's spoke about it today, and I say it all the time, I wouldn't be in the industry if it wasn't for the artists, because I know that the artists are not only the center, they're actually my boss. At the end of the day, I know who the boss is, and it isn't me. If I didn't have the talent in the industry, I wouldn't have a job. So I'm very, very grateful to my artists. People who know me personally know I have 6 Jamaican artists tattooed to me, and a lot of artists that I'm just a big fan of. So I'm actually my own best marketing tool. So that being said, I have a slide presentation. I was going to control it. Carlette, can we have somebody else control? There we go. We'll have somebody else control it for me. So yes, it makes it so much easier for me to do it that way. Sorry if I keep dipping from the mic. So the first thing that they wanted me to talk about was the difference between the indies and the majors. Obviously, I'm a major label. I can't say the word. I've frequented lots of them, so I can speak on that for sure. And I've worked at a lot of major indies too as well. I was at VP Records twice. I like to work places and then leave and then come back again. I'm infamous for that. So I just wanted to explain stuff that you guys know. Again, it was so beautiful 33 years ago when I started in the early 90s in the industry, when there were all these labels and there were so many resources to get your record out. Now we have what we like to call the big threes, and it's in that order. It's Universal, Sony, and Warner Music Group. Universal is still controlling the market share. Actually, it's basically, doesn't change much. It's usually 70% of it is ran by the majors, 30% of the music space is the independent space. So that's your big threes right there. That's what a lot of people attain for. But I just wanted to make sure I broke that down to explain that level of it. And then this is what you hope to do. This is where you would like to go. A lot of artists feel like that's where they should be. I have a different take on that. And I want to talk about the other options that are out there too as well. So I mean, when you're getting your career off the ground and the opportunities are there, I want to talk about the 3 different levels and the tiers of the labels. So that's the first one. If you can go to the next slide. These are what we call digital distributors that you self-distribute yourself. These are the main 3, the most reputable. Are you guys hearing me? Am I chopping up a little bit on the mic? Okay, because I keep hearing it clicking, so I want to make sure you can hear me. You got TuneCore, CD Baby, and DistroKid. I'm hands in the air. I'm sure everybody knows these 3. You've heard of them, correct? Everybody's heard of them. So these are the ones that you can self-distribute. You can go online. Some of them require a membership fee, but it's pretty easy to do. You can go on there. There's different membership fees, especially like on TuneCore. You can either just put it up there or you can pay a little bit more, so you don't have to just talk to like an email, 30 different people answering your email. You can maybe get somebody on the phone. But this is the self-distribution avenue that we have that's in the music industry. And then the next one, you can go to the next slide. The next one is, it's a tier up from the self-distribution. And these are some of the, there's more of them, but these are some of the key ones that are out there. You have Symphonic, you have United Masters, and you have 1RPM. The interesting thing about Symphonic and 1RPM is they actually have representatives that actually represent reggae music. So they're actually, she'll probably kill me for this, but the person who runs A&Rs for reggae music for 1RPM is actually based here in Kingston. She's a very dear friend. So I'm not going to tell you where she lives, but she's here. And they have, and Symphonica, she used to work with me at VP. We have another wonderful woman that works at Symphonica. So these actual distributors care enough about the genre as they should, as you heard people speak earlier, and I say this all the time. And I'm not saying it because I'm a part of it. There's no bigger music in the world than reggae music. It's influential, it's popularity, not to mention my boss over there to the right looking at me. Well, not looking at me, he's looking at Rita, both of them. That's the biggest catalog in the history of music. I know it because I was a part of it for 27 years. I ran both those labels, and that's what keeps the lights on at Universal Music Group. It's the catalogs that fund the new artists, and Bob Marley is consistently funding the new artists within the Universal system. So if you love Taylor Swift, you love Sabrina Carpenter, you love Jay-Z, and you love Rihanna, it's all because of the funds that come out of that catalog. So it's very powerful of the things that reggae music's been able to do. Didn't want to go off on a tangent, but just my little fun fact. So back to the distributors. So those are the 3 levels of the distributors that are in the industry that you can actually do business with. Obviously, as a new artist, the first ones is doing your self-distribution. If you have the ability to have some traction, you got radio play, you got publicity, things are picking up, there might be a semi-hit that's out there, you may have a contact, it can take you to the next tier where you can negotiate deals with them. What they have at the higher tiers, there is a self-distribution with some of them, but then there's also the option to be able to they have an invite-only platform, which means if you are doing well with your music, you have relationships over there, they can invite you to utilize what they like to call their extended marketing services, where they can possibly offer up radio promotion, publicity, digital media, help with you, anything that you need to have as far as digital marketing, you name it, they can help you with that too as well. And then there also is the label services. I'm glad we got to that because I was about to just point over there. This is the invite-only ones. You've got In Grooves, which is owned by Universal Music Group. You have The Orchard, an AWAL, and that's actually owned by Sony Music. You have ADA, which is owned by Warner, and then you have Believe, which, fun fact, actually owns TuneCore. These are the invite-only ones. So this is like your next step down from a major label deal. And the one key thing about all of these platforms that I want to make sure you take back that you take from this is that whenever you set your deals up with them and however you negotiate them with, especially the ones you're negotiating, make sure that you have the ability to upstream your music. Because what you don't want to have is where you're in a situation to where you've set up a distribution thing and you've spent all your money and your resources, your hard work, and you're actually blowing your project up, and you've got somebody like this or somebody like Universal Music Group that wants to come on board, but then you're already tied into a contract. You want to make it as easy as possible to be upstreamed, so you want to make sure that's a part of your original negotiations. But that's also a part of the Indies versus Labels platforms that we have that's available to you guys as artists. Like I had mentioned to you guys about the revenue market share, obviously 70% major, 30% indies. Some key things I wanted you guys to think about too, the things that you have to take care of as an artist when you're coming out, is you have to think about the studio cost, your publicity, radio, video, content, photo shoots, new media, but certain things, and there's ways where you can make money in this too. Obviously, you make it from streaming, downloads, physical and vinyl, merch, touring, syncs, publishing, brand deals. But I want to talk about some key things that you should think about when you're doing a project. For example, the song that I just played when I walked out is actually a new project that I'm doing. For me, it's the most important project I've done in 33 years. And after working at all the majors, I found myself in the same situation a lot of people in this room are in. I'm doing the project on my own, with my own money. So even though I have music industry resources, I'm in that situation where I have limited resources. So even with all the jobs that I work, I kind of consider myself a little bit of a Willy Wonka creative. I always have to come up with these crazy ideas of how I'm going to figure out how to do something different. And I'm sure you've all heard this. We're in the music industry where it's way more difficult than it's ever been. It's full of so much noise. How are you going to stand out? How are you going to get your music out there? And I know, especially sitting down here, you're thinking, I'm not in the UK or Canada or America, I'm in Jamaica, so how am I going to make this work? So where are the opportunities for me? So when I put this record together, the interesting thing about the artist, his name is Lord Abstract, is he put together an EP where he almost created his own new genre. Everybody we put it in front of says the album is, they compare him to Shabuzi because, he's an African-American male from Michigan. So they automatically, and he lives in Nashville, so they say Shabuzi. But I kind of see country influences, but not elements. It's more like 80s pop rock from London. They say alternative. So right now he's getting radio play, for example, in Daytona in Florida. And he's getting it on a radio station that has pop music, but then plays alternative. So that song that you just heard, they're playing it in a mix after Hey Ya from Outkast. But then on the alternative station, they're playing that song, and it's followed by Avenged Sevenfold. So he's in this unique spot of just kind of fitting in, which is a blessing but a challenge because everybody in the industry always wants to put you in a box. So I had to figure out, he's a new artist, we're just starting him. Even on his social media, not a lot of activity there because he just hates doing social media. So it's not like I could go to a label and say, oh, look at all my social numbers, look what we're doing. Hasn't toured in that space. Ironically enough, he had recorded a few songs prior to it, but he has found his sound, so it's completely different than the music he did before. He actually has a track with Beanie Man that was put out on Tuff Gong that was distributed through In Grooves, but it's not the sound that he has now, so it's like starting from scratch. So what I ended up doing is I ended up doing a 3-part deal for him, and I want to share this with you guys so you can understand the ways you can kind of come up with creative ideas how to get your music out there. I ended up going with a distributor, but I did a 3-part deal, and all of the individuals knew each other to make sure I could get the deal that I wanted. I did a deal with a distributor, I did a deal with a publisher, and I also did a deal with a sync company. And that's why I'm telling the story, because I want to tell you guys the importance of that. Because the project he put together was very syncable. I could see it in a Marvel movie. I could see it in TV shows and Netflix. And right now, when you think of streaming numbers, which I'm going to get into next, and how much you have to sell to make such a little bit of money, how am I going to be different? I don't want to go through the front door. I'm not even trying to go through the back door. I'm trying to come through the chimney. How am I going to do something different in this loud music space? So the deal that I did was with a distributor. I did it with a publisher, and then I did it with an actual sync company, and that's all they focus on. The 3 of them know each other. I tied the deals in together. I'm able to upstream it if I want to. I have full control of the masters, and the interesting thing about this artist is he's written everything himself, plus he demoed out all the tracks himself. So all the musicians I had in the studio, because it's all live musicians, paid them work for hire, so he controls 100% of the publishing. So when I need to sync it, I can clear in a minute. Like if there's an opportunity where you should think about it, because it happens when Grey's Anatomy was out there, that broke the fray in all these big rock bands. They would say, if we license your track on Grey's Anatomy in their heyday, you have to waive all your publishing. And for an artist, sometimes you want to do that because you can't put a price on that type of promotion you're going to get being seen on Grey's Anatomy. And for me to be able to control 100% of that publishing, I'm able to do those things instead of waiting for somebody else to approve it or having the situation that might get denied because one half wants to do it, one half doesn't want to approve it. That comes into play. So, but the key thing I did with them is that all three companies are ran by seasoned executives that are very, very experienced and respected in what they do, but they were all brand new companies. They all decided to leave the big companies they worked at, started their own companies. So now it's made Lord Abstract a priority at all three of these companies, which is key as well. Like I tell everybody all the time, at the majors, especially in the catalogs department, if the three artists or even the three top artists get out the gate, everybody keeps their job. Don't you want to be one of those three artists? So I just wanted to figure out a way to get him to be every time they're pitching, every time they're talking about him, he's top of the queue. So that's just another thing. I just wanted to share that advice with you guys too as well, because again, like I said, after 33 years, I had to start back at scratch again because we put all the money into the music and now we have to do the promotion ourselves, and it's not cheap to be able to do videos, as everybody knows, and all that. So I just wanted to at least use that as the platform because my idea is to eventually get it upstream. So I'm going to move on to my next slide, which I'm getting into streaming. This is a quote, and I don't know if you guys have ever seen this quote before. Success in the streaming era doesn't require a chart-topping hit or a decade-spanning catalog. It's about building a loyal fan base that keeps coming back. I listed the quote as said by the great and powerful Oz, which is what I like to refer to Spotify as. I am not afraid to say in front of a room full of people that are probably very hot right now. I thank you for that, for thugging it out with us, because it's kind of hot in this room, and all of them online. I'm not a huge fan of Spotify. I'm not a huge fan of the streaming space. I thought I was going to have a heart attack when iTunes came in. I'm pretty shocked I'm not dead now that we're in streaming. The part that frustrates me, and you guys know this, and I'm not going to go on a tangent, it's just been frustrating to see talent not get their just due and getting paid out for their musical works the way they should. And I know people are trying to get it together and work out a solution with it, but and there's been some strides in it, but I'm still just not a huge fan. That's why I call him the great and powerful Oz, because it's a very hard machine to manipulate. I mean, right now, pitching playlists, they keep changing the game. Right now, I mean, the stats alone are crazy. 100,000 songs are uploaded just to Spotify every day. 12 million artists uploaded just to Spotify in 2024. And only about 1,400 of those artists became millionaires. So out of 12 million, 1,400, that's not really good. It's not great stats. And then a fun fact too is you gotta hope that somebody at least streams your song for 30 seconds, because if it doesn't stream for 30 seconds, it doesn't count. So that's another thing too, because when you think about when Stone Love is playing in a dance, be like, you better play that more than 30 seconds. It's the same thing with radio, but it's a little bit longer than that, I think. But yeah, it's just a very difficult space in the streaming world, and I feel that I want to discuss the next slide so I can try to show you guys what it takes. If you sell 1 million streams, if you get 1 million streams on Spotify, if you get 1 million streams on Spotify, the most you can probably make is maybe $6,000 US. And yeah, I know you're looking at me. I look like that every day, honey. I mean, it's a little crazy. I mean, actually, I saw this thing on Instagram, and it's true because people think radio's dead. I've worked radio for 33 years. It's still my passion to break records. It's my favorite thing to do. And radio is still, you get so much more from radio. And yes, I mean, if you get 1 million plays at radio over 1 million, streams on Spotify, that's a difference. It's harder to get 1 million plays at radio, but radio is still a very big component. So just another sidebar, don't sleep on radio. Still try to get your stuff out there. Radio is still so important, very, very important. So basically, this is what I wanted to tell you. This is the big takeaway from my speech today. And Carlette, if I'm going over, make sure you just give me that little time thing. This is the most important part I wanted to get to. if you're an artist in Jamaica and you have limited resources, although I do want to tell you, being in the reggae industry, we like to call this the place that you can cherry pick. It's a unique country in the music space, that there's so much opportunity down here that you can actually become a successful artist in Jamaica before anybody in America, Canada, or the UK actually could even be aware of it. Not meaning the core fans, but meaning like there's so much resources down here to get your career going that like that's when certain labels, they'll come down and go, oh, so what's hot in Jamaica? It's easier to get hot in Jamaica. It's better than being hot on your Instagram, because music executives come down here and they ask, so what's going on down in Jamaica? And that's how certain artists, that's what they call it, like cherry picking them, where a company in UK can hear, oh, this kid's really hot in Jamaica. And it's just all been based off of what he's done down here, from radio promotions or working with companies like Headline, or performing on shows like Reggae Sunfest, Mr. Bogdanovich in the back of the room. I mean, you can just do those things here, and that's when the people overseas start to really pay attention. So you have an opportunity that maybe the guy in Oklahoma doesn't necessarily have. But this being said, you can do this pretty cost effective, what I'm going to break down for you right now, and the things that you should know. One, like we said, you should pick your distributor. We talked about the distributors before. Like I said, if all you can do is TuneCore is what you do. So I mean, it just depends on your resources. If you have the ability to do a 1 RPM or something like that, but you have to pick your distributor. The next is you need to sign up for a PRO. Down here in Jamaica, you have JCAP, and I know there's probably a representative here today, or there's definitely one that's available to explain to you what they do as well, but they do exactly about the three I'm about to talk about too as well. In America, you have BMI and you have ASCAP. We have CSAC, but CSAC is an invite-only PRO. What the PROs do is they actually they're going to ensure that you get all your performance royalties, and that means whenever your music is played in clubs, venues, bars, restaurants, certain radio, TV, stuff like that, you want to make sure you sign up with a PRO. That should be, besides deciding, even before you decide who your distributor is, first move, sign up for a PRO. But when you sign up for a PRO, let's say you go with BMI, and you can do this in Jamaica. I mean, and you also have SoCan in Canada, in case people are doing business in Canada, because I know a lot of Jamaicans do. Like I said, you have JCAP here. You also have PRS in the UK. But you want to sign up with a PRO, but you also want to register your publishing company. That probably costs like about $150. So what you do is, let's say your publishing is Beanie Man Music, Publishing, and then it'll say BMI. You can sign it up right there. So right there, you signed up with a PRO, you have your publishing company set up. That's actually the credit that you give to anybody when they say, oh, what's your publishing? So I can make sure if you're recording with somebody else, or the record label needs to know, so everybody understands who they're collecting on behalf of. You want to make sure you do that. But then after you do that, click to the next screen. These are the 4 things, and you guys might have heard this before, but these are things you can do today. You can walk out of here today and do all of this within 3 hours, I'm sure. What you want to do is you want to be able to sign up with the MLC. The MLC is a company, this is free to do, and they will pay for all your mechanicals. They'll collect on your behalf for your mechanicals on streaming. So anytime you stream on any of the streaming sites, whether it's Tidal, Spotify, wherever you're streaming, they'll collect, and you can do that free. You can sign up with them. You have Sound Exchange that's out there too. And with Sound Exchange is what we call non-interactive services, like where you can't control what you're listening to. Like if you're in your car and you're listening to Sirius satellite radio, where it just plays whatever station you're playing. Sound Exchange will collect your they'll collect songs that stream on like Pandora, Sirius XM, stuff like that. So you definitely want to sign up for Sound Exchange too. The Harry Fox Agency is going to collect on your mechanical royalties for digital downloads. That's anytime it's downloaded on iTunes and all that, you can sign up for them too. But to recap, now that you have your PRO set up, you set up your publishing through your PRO, you now have the MLC, Sound Exchange, Harry Fox Agency. What you can do is you can go to Songtrust, and Songtrust can act as your publisher. They can be your publishing admin. And in order to do that with Songtrust, I think it costs it's $100 to sign up, and they'll take about 15% of your publishing. So when you think about everything that I just mentioned, you can sign up for all that, basically be ready to go, and it's about maybe $200 to $300 US. So that you can be set And everything that you're set up there, no matter what you do, if you go up to a top tier distributor or you get upstream to a major, you're going to want to have all this regardless. So these are the things you're going to want to make sure that you have right out the gate. But I also want to just say a couple things to you too. Make sure you trademark your name. I trademarked Lord Abstract, making sure that he could utilize it for performing all over the world, merchandise and touring, because I'm working with an artist right now who ended up having a name. And now there's an R&B person who has that name. There's a rapper that has that name. There's a rock band that has that name. Manager would not change it. The minute they put the music up on TuneCore, now it's streaming on Spotify. But now when you stream this artist, it's now connected to the R&B guy's page. You can't capture your Spotify page. And the only way you could do it is say, well, I have the trademark to this. So if you own the trademark, no one can touch your name. You can sue them. You have that document that you can send it into any of these people and have it shut down in a New York minute because now you have the document. The other thing is make sure you copyright your songs. You can do that, and it's online, and it does cost to do it, but I encourage it because songwriters, you got to protect your music. Our musicians, you have to protect. These are your creations. These are your babies. And when you copyright it, once you have that document, and then anybody else has anything remotely sounding like that, you have the proof that you were the first one who did it. You have a document again, an official document that you can just slap to any of these people. Not even thinking about having to hire a lawyer because you have that official document that comes from the government that says this is your baby. Nobody can take that from you. And last but not least, I want to give Carlette credit for this. So she threw something in, some ideas to talk about. We were talking about brand identity, and she was saying this thing about the 3 words to develop your brand identity. And I just happened to watch something online about it. I said, that's so funny that she said that. And I think that's a great thing for you all to think about because, all the big Nikes and Gucci's and all these people have a 3-word brand identity. After you guys walk away from this workshop today, think about those 3 words. That's going to make you unique. It's going to make you, it tells the personality and the core values of what your brand is, because that is going to definitely engage the fans, and it's going to engage all music lovers all over the world. Thanks, guys. I appreciate your time today.
Oh, no, you don't get to go yet. I'm so sorry. Thank you, Cristy. No, you stand right here still. Thank you for an amazing presentation. Please give her another round of applause. We do have a couple of questions, and by a couple, I do mean 2 questions, and I'm going to take moderator's privilege and not allow you to, even though I know you came to speak about this one thing. You are Cristy Barber, so I cannot have you leave without speaking about something else.
Oh, okay. I have a feeling what it is, and I thought I wasn't going to do it because you're sick of me doing it.
I'm not sick of you doing it because we need to know. You just dropped a lot of information, and yes, it will be available online because I now need a checklist of all the different things I need to do, and I would imagine you do too. But to add to the information dump, let's talk about the Grammys.
Oh, my pleasure.
As succinctly as you can, what are the main points that Jamaicans need to understand about the Grammys so that when that reggae category is named, we understand the process and how it is that we can have influence on it?
How much time do I have?
Unfortunately, very little, because we do have 2 questions, but I couldn't let you leave
Well,
without
I do want to say I'm going to be here all day, guys. And I have been a part of the Academy. Again, I'm like a unicorn. I've been a voter for 25 years. I started my advocacy program about 25 years ago when I was at the LA offices, and they shared with me there was only 1 Grammy voter on the island of Jamaica. So I became the kind of expert in this. And I don't just work with reggae artists. I work with artists in every genre about the Recording Academy and the importance of it. I've actually, like I said, I'm a Grammy-nominated producer. I've been on the P&E wing. I've served on the boards in Nashville. I was on the P&E board there. I'm on the membership committee now. So anybody that needs to become a member, come see me today. And we can talk about it. I can tell you the process. But yes, that's why I started the advocacy campaign, because I realized 25 years ago there was a name recognition problem in our category, and there was an issue that whatever was going on that year was not representing who our nominees were. And another thing is I sat on the screening committee for 13 years too, so I became an expert in all things Academy, especially when they change stuff, because they change it every year now, so they make it so hard for people to understand it. But yes, I mean, like I said, it's a very important category. Things are changing at a rapid pace. I think they got better, then they're not getting so great, but I still feel like, again, when we're representing the most important music in the world, if you don't understand the submission process, again, hit me up. I'm also on Instagram, Facebook. Headline knows how to reach me. When it comes to the Recording Academy, there's not an artist in here that is not too small, too great, that I will not sit aside and have this conversation with you. I'm super passionate about it because it's the highest music accolade in the world, and there's no reason any reggae artist should not be able to attain it, or any artist in the world, or anybody in this room. So,
round of applause for that one. Yes. I know, this is why I like talking to Cristy, because she gives me so much information in such a short period of time. So if it is that you need to know more about the Grammys, you know that you need to call Cristy, because Cristy is going to give you that information. Well, that's my Cristy impression.
Oh,
all right, so I took moderator's privilege with one question, so I will allow one more question. And ladies and gentlemen, it is a question. It is not, oh, well, I have something to say. I'm making a separate presentation before my question. Please, one question. So who would like to raise their hand and ask that question? Okay, yes. So you need to move quickly, yes? All right. So, for the benefit of everybody else, you're going to give your name and then you're going to give your question.
And make it really easy.
Okay, my name is Hodari. The question is, for entities like Sound Exchange, do you need to have a tax ID number? Because I've seen that happen before.
That's a very good question, because if they have to, obviously, if they're collecting money on your behalf, you definitely do. That's a very
A U.S. one, not a local.
Well, you actually have to. What is it down here? Whenever I pay you guys on yeah, that's what it is. Yep, you have to have one of those, but you definitely have to have that, because obviously everybody has to pay taxes.
For the benefit of who didn't hear, the TRN, the tax registration number.
Yep. But yes, that's a very good point. Thanks for reminding me that I forgot that.
All right. Thank you
Thanks
so
again,
very
guys.
much.
I appreciate it.
I really do. Give her another round of applause.